Hey mba617 students, how's it going today? Hope things are going okay for you in this class. Just want to give you a quick overview of week 3. Make sure you do read all the materials identified in the syllabus and in Blackboard. But I also like to provide some supplementary information, maybe help you along the way a little bit. So just kind of like condensing the learning outcomes into some simple statements. We're going to understand what leader-member exchange theory is. It's another form of leadership style theory that we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at the transformational leadership style. And along with that transformational leadership style, we're going to look at the cousins called transactional style and laissez-faire leadership style as well. So they're kind of like three cousins grouped together there under the umbrella of transformational leadership style. Then we're going to look at the behavior-focused strategies for self-leadership. That's out of the Neckmans and Houghton book. And then we're going to touch on the importance of purpose, which is also connected to the self-leadership book, this one here by Neckmans and Houghton. So anyways, hang on, we'll go through a quick tour here. All right, so leader-member exchange, and that's out of the, let me get the book here. This is out of the Northhouse book, all right? So that book, leader-member exchange. And up till now we've been looking at like leadership style through the lens of who leaders are, their trait, we looked at trait theories, their skill theory, some behavioral type theories as well related to the leader. Then we looked at followers. We looked at the path goal leadership style theory. We looked at situational leadership style theory. This one's a little bit different. This is kind of based on the leader-member exchange is based on the relationship between the leader and the group. Now, it's a little bit special case. The leader-member exchange theory is really founded on this principle of relationship between the leader and then individual relationships between every other member. So it's not the leader to the entire group, it's the leader to each individual member. The leader may have a different relationship with some than he or she does with others. And that's what's shown in this picture here is the leader has a more closer relationship with people who are considered in that in-group. They sometimes get special treatment. They might get, if not special treatment, they might get more inside information that other people don't get. They might get more face time, one-on-one time, if you will, with the leader than the other people who are in the out group. And so the whole leader-member exchange theory, it's a little bit criticized because people think it's discriminatory. Well, okay, it's just really a theory that identifies how the world works sometimes. It's not saying it's fair or not fair. It's just this is how it is, and so we have to learn to see it that way. And the book identifies, for all these leadership styles, the book identifies some really good criticisms as well as supports or strengths for each of the different theories. So when you look at the leader-member exchange, just don't throw it out and say, oh, that's not fair, because it kind of works that way sometimes in the working world. And you're all work. I think, we've all been around long enough to know that unfortunately things are not always fair in the workplace. And the leader-member exchange theory tries to identify that and then gives some strategies on how to work with everybody so everybody feels like they're on the in-group, if you will. All right, let's move on. This is the three cousins, transformational, transactional, and laissez-faire leadership styles. And sorry about that. Let me get rid of that. Well, I guess that's not going to go away, so I'm just going to, we'll put it down there for now. Okay. So let's look at this chart here first. What the researchers actually ended up doing, they looked at these three different research theories on leadership, developed separately, but that somebody said, let's put them on a single continuum, and you can look at them. The transformational leadership style, person's very charismatic. The leader might be very charismatic. They might be intellectually stimulating their followers and that sort of thing. They're very concerned for each individual person. Whereas the transactional leader, they're more rewards, carrot stick, if you will. They're more constructive in their transactions. They're not really too worried, frankly, if they're going to hurt people's feelings or not. They're just going to give you some very constructive feedback, good or bad, to help you. They maybe give you some corrective actions. Management by exception means Sometimes if you're the one who's not doing well, they're going to dig in deep with you. Think about for that situational leadership lens, you might be in that very, what's the directive, where there's low support needed but high direction. So you might be micromanaged in this transactional leadership style if the leader says, I'm going to manage you by exception, as an example. The laissez-faire leadership style, yeah, free reign, very delegative, like a hands-off version of leadership. And this gets criticized a lot, but sometimes, and the book makes this point, it's a great strategy actually. Some leaders use this as a strategy to force people into taking responsibility that they might not otherwise do. So some leaders are intentional about saying, you know what, I'm going to take my hands off the wheel for a while. Let's see what you guys and folks can do. All right. And then I wanted to show you this as well. So this is another way to view the three cousins, transformational, transactional, laissez-faire. And you can see that called out there. So a little more information than what you might find in the book. Let's go on here. Okay, so the question comes up, which leadership style is the best? Like, there is a lot of different leadership styles going on in this book. And you might be getting confused about what to do with all that. Well, the book on page 174 makes this great quote that it's so important. I just wanted to throw it up here so you can see it. Research does indicate that leaders may be most effective when they use a combination of all these. That reiterates what most of this book is trying to say, and the theories in this book is this: all approaches to leadership have strengths and weaknesses, and because leading effectively means consistently surveying the followers, the tasks, the work environment, the business, that sort of thing, it needs, oftentimes the best approach is a combination of leadership approaches. It is okay to look at a lot of different leadership styles to try to figure out which one might fit your situation. And another way to look at it is like this. Each of the leadership styles in here or in other books that you might have are almost like little individual lenses for you to look at your environment through. And sometimes, each of these lenses, each of these leadership styles magnify or put back in the background certain aspects of what's going on in the work environment with your employees or your subordinates and that sort of thing. So it's okay to look at your situation look at it through the situational leadership lens. Look at it through the laissez-faire leadership lens or the transformational lens, for example. Just look at your situation differently. Take 2 or 3 views of your leadership style through a different lens and see which one works, because something might come out differently in each one of those that you hadn't considered before. So don't think that any one of them is better than the other. They're just all different. Okay. All right, let's talk about self-leadership and self-leaders real quick here. This is out of the Neckmans and Holton book. So the idea of really was talked about in chapter 3 are these areas right here: self-set rewards, self-cueing, rehearsal, self-correcting feedback, that sort of thing. Take a close look at those. I know it sounds strange, but really, if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And some of these things in here sound a little bit weird, especially this one down here, positive self-talk. That comes up, I think, in a little bit later chapter. But it works, all right? So, and if you can do some pretty solid reflection about yourself and how you set your own goals and how you set little rewards. Okay, listen, we all do it. We say, hey, listen, when I'm going to set myself a little reward to do this after I study, for example, I'm going to reward myself with 30 minutes of Netflix or something. I don't know, you pick it. But anyways, that's an example of self-rewards. Take this chapter pretty seriously and these topics seriously, because if you can lead yourself in this way, you can also promote this with other people. Lastly, purpose. There's a guy named Daniel Pink. Right down here, you can kind of see his name. He's written a number of books. This one's out of his book called Drive. And really interesting thing. So what Pink says is, if you want to be motivated in your current job, let's make sure your job then has 3 things going on for it. One is you have autonomy. You have control over your situation. You have a fair amount of control over the content of the work and how you do your work. You are really good at it. That's mastery. So you're very competent in what you do. And the purpose. The purpose of your job or your career, if you will, tends to line up with your own personal values or your own personal purpose. And so there's a lot of like synergy that happens when these three get aligned, and helps you like your job better, if you will. You feel more motivated, you're challenged, and you want to develop yourself to be better. So if you're interested in looking up more, look up this guy named Daniel Pink. I've got a few of his books, really good stuff. Okay, some reminders. The dialogue posts are due Wednesdays, applications, quizzes, project works, work all done on by Sunday, 11:59 p.m. As a reminder, hey, I do hold virtual office hours at 8 o'clock on Wednesday evenings, Eastern Time. Go to the Zoom link. There's an announcement out there in the first week of the class called Course Overview and Other Important Information. There's a Zoom link there. Click on it anytime between 8:30. If you want, we'll just chat for a few minutes. I'll be on there. It kind of works similar to Skype. So, all right. Listen, you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.